Whoa, now that was a whole lot of fun. Arsenal smashed Atletico Madrid over the pack, and we're here to have a quick live reaction to this guy game. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to All About Arsenal, and of course, this is a late night stream we're going to do today. Basically, just bask in the euphoria of smashed Atletico Madrid by 4 goals to nil. Prior to this game, we were really hopeful that we'll get a very good result. Yes, there was so much talk about how Arsenal is so defensive, how Atletico is so defensive, and all that BS. But when it came down to it, we got what was needed to be done, which was the 3 points, and of course, we smashed them over the park. So we'll just have a quick match reaction where I'll just talk about how the game panned out, my thoughts on it, and what we're looking forward to next as Arsenal fans. I'll start with the starting lineup. I really wanted Arteta to rotate a couple of players, and I'm very, very glad that we got that. Even though the rotation wasn't as much, we had just two key changes from the team that defeated Fulham in the Premier League last weekend. In came out Lewis Kelly for Ricardo Calafiori, and of course, Gabriel Martinelli coming on as a sub for Leonard Trossard. It was very clear to see that obviously we have so many players that can actually do a job when required, and seeing the squad made me so happy. Of course, we had so much depth in the team with many guys on the bench itching to come into the field as well. But with Harry Raya in goal, I know this was a game that I didn't expect to see Kepa Arrizabalaga. So Raya was the one that started in goal. And of course, we had Julian Timber with White still getting his fitness on the right-hand side. Saliba and Gabriel were expected to be the ones, in the center half of the defense. Obviously, Mosquera had no place in the Newcastle game. I was glad to see him get some minutes today when things were a bit more comfortable. We had Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice in central midfield. Bukayo Saka led the line on the right-hand side, while Martinelli was on the left with AJ behind Viktor Gyökeres. Atletico, on the other hand, obviously had Yano Black in goal, but they played a 4-4-2, which was quite strange. Hanko was on the left-hand side. Marcos Llorente played right back. And of course, Lenormand and Jose Maria Jimenez were the ones that were in central defense. The midfield had Koke and Barrios, who were certainly going to add some steel with the likes of Giuliano Simeone, that's Simeone's son, and Nico Gonzalez as the wingers. Then Alexander Solot started alongside Julian Alvarez. Alvarez was a constant threat in the entirety of the game and even almost opened the scoring when David Raya had a memorable moment of madness where he went to the left-hand side to tackle, I think it was Simeone, and he didn't get back in goal on time. So Alvarez's attempt on goal actually went just wide of the mark. But Alvarez was actually a big threat. He also had a very good caller that smashed the bar. But Arsenal were the ones that got what is required, scoring 4 amazing goals, and we're basically going to talk through them all. The opener came from Gabriel, as you would expect, yet another set piece for Arsenal. And it was a very good goal. I think it was a free kick that was won by Martinelli. He tried to pirouette Llorente, and he was fouled rightfully. And of course, there's a certain Declan Rice who was on the right-hand side, and he called this ball so beautifully and was attacked by Gabriel. Gabriel is just someone that I'm so happy we have him. His contributions to the team, both offensively and defensively, cannot be overemphasized. And as expected, he timed his run well, attacked the ball, and nodded it straight at goal. Yano Black had a touch to the ball, but his hand wasn't too strong. So that was Arsenal's opener. The fans were obviously happy with that goal, and that kind of brought the win to our sails. The goal actually came. What time was that? I think it was the fifth. In the 57th minute, yes, because the first half was kind of drab. We had a couple of half chances here and there, but the goal from Gabriel was what we needed to, gain further confidence as the game progressed. But that was just the start of a mazy run for Arsenal where we scored 4 goals in just 13 minutes. Sometimes when teams crumble, they crumble. Atletico Madrid were trying hard to maintain the pressure they kept, but eventually Arsenal did what was required to get the victory. The second goal was a thing of genius. Miles Lewis Kelly won the ball in midfield, and he made one of those his trademark runs that we've become very accustomed to. As he dragged the ball and took a couple of markers with him, he kind of freed up space for Gabriel Martinelli on the left hand side, and he passed the ball to Martinelli. A very, very good weighted, carefully weighted pass. And Martinelli, called the ball past Oblak. That was, I think, his third goal now for the team. Or is it his fourth? Yeah, he scored one against Man City, scored one against Athletic Club, and scored one against Olympiacos. So that was only his fourth goal for the club. So at the time of this recording, Martinelli is currently our highest goal scorer with 4 goals, and that was a very beautiful call. I'm so happy for him. Obviously, the battle between him and Trossard is a very interesting one. They are going to really lock horns with each other in the course of this entire campaign. And I expect Martinelli and Trossard to contribute immensely to our attack. So that goal was scored in the 64th minute, just 7 minutes after Gabriel had opened the scoring for us to make it 2-0 to the Arsenal. And that was more than enough. At that point, we were just cruising, enjoying our football. As you'd expect, a player that we were all desperate for him to score finally scored. And that was Viktor Gyökeres. Yes, as the slide say here, it's relief for Gyokeres. He had gone 10 games without scoring for Arsenal. The last time Viktor Gyökeres scored a goal for Arsenal, when was that? That was Nottingham Forest, I think. Yeah. Yes, 13th of September. Almost more than a month, actually. After scoring against Nottingham Forest, he played against Athletic Club. I think he was subbed in that game. That's when he had that head injury and he didn't score. Against Man City, he had one of his poorest games, had very, very little amount of touches. Against Port Vale, he didn't start, but he came on as a sub, and there was a time when Max Dalman gave him that lovely pass, but he just fluffed at it, so he didn't score as well. Against Newcastle, he was fouled in the box by Nick Pope. Saka held the ball while the VAR check was ongoing. I feel that maybe Saka would have passed on the ball to Gyokeres. We can't tell. Or maybe he played it himself. But obviously, Gyokeres had a very good game against Newcastle, holding up play and stuff, but he didn't score. The next game we played was Olympiacos. His shot actually skimmed through the goalkeeper and clipped the post before Martinelli rebounded. So it was more like an assist for him, But the jury was still out for him, and he had not scored. Then, of course, the West Ham game, then Bukayo Saka actually grabbed the ball this time for a penalty and converted it. Then there was the Fulham game. Of course, he had a couple of shots that Ben Leno made some saves for. And, if you now add it to the games he played for Sweden, both in September and October, I think in September they played Kosovo and Switzerland. I know they played Kosovo twice. They played Switzerland and it's in Slovenia. I can't remember the last country they played. But all those games piled up for Gyokeres and he had not scored. So to see him score a brace tonight was amazing. The first one, he kind of bundled it, But then again, if you don't play for the lottery, if you don't try, you would never know pretty much. And he had a very good chance and he kind of deflected off the defender, deflected off Hanko, but we didn't care. You could see how the players celebrated with Gyokeres when he scored that first goal because it's something that he needed for quite a while. It showed some relief. The second goal was down to our set piece prowess again. Declan Rice swung an amazing corner kick to the far post. Gabriel was on hand to nod it back into the danger area, and Gyokeres just bundled it into the goal. And he just went with the celebration, the max celebration. It was good to see Gyokeres score 2 goals. Now that's bringing his total count at Arsenal to 5. So actually, Gyokeres is our highest goal scorer right now with 5 goals. Martinelli has 4 goals, and I think a couple of folks have 3. Trossard, yeah, I think I need to verify that. But obviously, it was good to see us score 4 goals against Atletico. And let's look at the stats on the day. Arsenal had 19 shots to Atletico's 11. So Atletico has finally, alongside Manchester United, being one of the teams that scored more than 10 shots to Arsenal. We have been having a very, very good record since then. Okay, then our XG was 2.24, while Atletico Madrid's XG was 0.67. We had 8 shots on target. They had just 1 shot on target. We had 6 big chances. They had 1 big chance. We missed 4 big chances. 4 big, okay. And I know the Bukayo Saka one that Oblak saved was 1. Then there was one that Zubimendi clipped for Gyokeres that Oblak also saved. They did have a big chance. I remember they had a big chance in the game though. Accurate passes, that's now 90% with 379 passes to Atletico's 333. So they actually had some control in the game as well. But we committed more fouls than them, 14-10. We had 2 offside, they didn't have any at all. We had 3 corners and they had 4. Oh my God, that's not just something else. So with 3 corners, we're able to get 2 goals from them. Oh my! And then our corner kick prowess is amazing. It's amazing. Like, I'm so happy that we have so many routes to point. There's been so much talk in the media right now of how we are anti-football, yada yada. Even in the game before Atletico Madrid, there was this clip going around how the Atletico players were building blocks to defend their line off recording a boss. But you can see that we scored from different means. 2 were from set pieces, no doubt. But the goal that Lewis Kelly gave Martinelli to score was a beautiful open play goal that everyone can rave over. And it just goes to show how the club has matured and how we continue to kill off teams. Atletico is not a small team. They are in Champions League finalists before. Simeone has won a couple of La Ligas. I know in their league right now, they are currently in 4th place, 8 points behind Real Madrid. They've had 4 draws and 4 wins and a defeat in 9 games within La Liga. But Arsenal ran them over the park. At least Diego Simeone had no answer to what we offered. Which brings me to my next point. 12 games played, 3 goals conceded. Well, it's not as if our defense is in the mode of Jose Mourinho's evil defense of 2005. But I think we are there. I think we are quite close. I saw a clip that showed that in 8 games we played in the Premier League, we've conceded just 3 goals, right? Mourinho's side played 11 games and conceded 3 goals. So apparently our record is actually better right now than what Mourinho did in his time. But obviously, at the end of the campaign, we're going to know because that team considered 15 goals, 6 goals in Stamford Bridge, and 9 goals away, which is very unprecedented. Arsenal has considered 3 goals so far this season. One was the open play goal at home to Manchester City. And in Haaland, it's in a world of his own. He scored again tonight, taking his target, I think, 19 goals or some crazy amount. But obviously, when you consider to a player like Haaland, you can't really complain, even though I still have some issues with the way the goal was considered. Gabriel was exposed. He went all the way up in midfield. Haaland, gave that pass to Reinders and used his quick pace to dash all the way to our box. Reinders was one-on-one with Saliba. Saliba couldn't handle both players at the same time, hoping that Gabriel would come back in time, to defend that chance. Obviously, the ball was sent to Haaland and he finished past right with consummate ease. Then there was the Dominic Szoboszlai free kick. Now you just have to hold your hands up. Sometimes when you come against quality like that, you can't actually complain because it's an amazing free kick by Szoboszlai. Then, of course, there was the voting mad goal. That was the one that I feel we shouldn't have considered because I don't think the push on Gabriel was that much. Gabriel is a big, strong lad, so to see him just hit the deck like that from that was man's header was disappointing. But all in all, we still won the game. So far, Arsenal has kept clean sheets in how many games? Let me see. Sorry, I just want to just get this out of the way real quick. I just got a call. So right now, how many goals have we considered? Let's just recap because this is such fun to look at when you think about it. Our first game in August against Manchester United was the first clean sheet. Yeah. Then the second clean sheet was against Leeds. The third clean sheet was against Nottingham Forest. The fourth clean sheet. The fourth clean sheet was against Port Vale. That was expected. The fifth clean sheet was against Olympiacos. The sixth clean sheet was against West Ham. The seventh clean sheet was against Fulham. And our eighth clean sheet has been against Atletico Madrid. Of course, we're going to have a real test this weekend when we play Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are, I think, one of the highest scorers in the league right now. If I'm not wrong, they've scored 12 goals and considered 8. Yeah, but they have one of the highest XGs in the league. So it's good to see that this team has been so amazing defensively, and while we are very good in attack, we have players that can actually defend. Let's even look at how the players contributed in the course of the game. I know Bukayo Saka tracked back a whole lot. He even had 5 defensive contributions. Yes. Martinelli, on the other hand, had 3 defensive contributions. So even if these guys are doing so well in attack, they're also doing very well defensively, and that's what we want. Now let's talk tactics. Arsenal played the usual 4-2-3-1. Obviously, with the absence of Odegaard and Eze in the team, we're actually using like a proper attacking midfielder. We're not using the whole left eight, right eight that we typically do. So now it's more like a double pivot between Zubimendi and Declan Rice with Eze ahead of them. Eze was really making things connect. He had a good chance early in the game that clipped the crossbar. I think Saka was in a good position for him to pass to, but at the same time, I could also understand why he tried to shoot. It's quite late here, man. Almost 11 o'clock in Nigeria, in Lagos. So our tactics have been on point so far. Obviously, the defense have been amazing. Luis Kelly did so well today. Timber, oh my God, that guy is so good. So it's also good to see a couple of subs that came on. Let's just talk through them and see how they all panned out. The first sub on the night was Christian Mosquera coming on for Gabriel. Gabriel had run his course. Come on, a goal, an assist, a clean sheet. I think he was feeling his hamstring or so. And of course, you need him for Mateta this weekend. So with us now being 3-0 up, there was no point you having him around. So that was very good. Oh, we're already 4-0 up actually. At that point when we subbed Gabriel. In came Mosquera, as neat as possible, easy passes. These are the kind of games you want him to come and just cook, where everything is just fun and with cruise control. So then alongside Saliba without any issues until a good game ended it well. Maneri came on for Eberechi Eze, obviously, with Martin Odegaard suffering that injury and being out of action all the way to the end of November. We will need to share minutes in that position between Eze, Merino, and Waneri. Waneri is supposed to be his heir apparent for sure, but Eze is certainly ahead of him in the pecking order. And I was happy to see Zubimendi get a rest. And on came Christian Nogard. Christian Nogard is a talented footballer that we're already aware of. We know what he has done in his days at Brentford. So it was good to see him get some valuable minutes. He's someone that my fine games had to come by, obviously. He's basically taking the Jorginho role in the squad right now. But it's good to see Nogard come in and get some minutes. Then later on, we saw Viktor Gyökeres for Mikel Moreno. Gyökeres obviously had a standing ovation as expected for scoring a brace on the night. and I'm so delighted for him. Gyokeres was someone that needed these goals. He had been under so much pressure, trying so hard to just shoot and just take that duck monkey off his back. And now he's going to the Crystal Palace game with so much confidence, during the event that he has scored two goals, and he'll be in the home crowd again in front of the Emirates with people that are showing him love and support. And of course, Marino came in, just did his thing, had a couple of free kicks that he won and stuff. But Marino is also an amazing player we have. You can see versatility coming into play again. He can play in the eighth position, he can play as a six, and of course, he can play as a centre forward. Wow. I don't know what happened there, man. I think the excitement. Excuse me. So we had Julian Timber also come out, and he was replaced by Ben White. Excuse me, man. No. We had Ben White. Ben White is someone that needs a lot of minutes to get back into the hang of things, but so far so good. Good to see him, come back after a very long while since he got injured and went for that surgery. He has found minutes hard to come by, and he has really struggled, really. But I'm happy to see him get a couple of more minutes. I'm sure in the game against Brighton, he might probably start because you can't obviously play Timber in every game. So I'm happy that those minutes were shared there. Now let's look at the player ratings. Typically, I build my own player ratings, but in all honesty, I was a bit pressed for time when building the slides for the stream. So I decided to just use Foot Mob Zone, but I'll just talk through it. Gabriel gets a 7. Yes, he made a couple of good saves. He had a shot that was clipped off the bar. But that moment where he went all the way to the left fullback position and considered a throwing that almost led to an Arsenal goal was really shaky. I really hope that doesn't happen again. But Raya is a very reliable keeper. We can always trust in him to come up with the goods. Obviously, I've been churning up the clean sheets like crazy, but I'm so happy that he got another one. Timber, virtuoso performance on the right hand side, supported Bukayo Saka very well, attacked, defended, just did what we expect from the usual Julian Timber. He has been uber consistent for us this season. And there was no injury challenge. I'm very happy to see him get subbed because he's going to have his work cut out against Jeremy Pino and Sa when we play Crystal Palace over the weekend. Lewis Kelly, he just showed why he's an amazing player to this squad. Lewis Kelly was the reason we were comfortable selling Zinchenko and letting Kyrian Tierney go for free. He also signed a new contract, which was Arsenal's show of commitment to him. But Calafiori had been in amazing form, and Lewis Kelly had to bide his time until obviously the opportunity for him to come up came today and play. And you saw what he did. He was so amazing in that his inverting role. And of course, the assist he gave for Martinelli will be replayed and for months and months and months to come. That was like a serious highlight reel. Got the ball in midfield, had like 5 or 6 players around him, but he was unperturbed, slalomed with the ball all the way to the edge of the area and gave a very carefully threaded pass to Martinelli, who called it once. Of course, Gabriel, another monster performance for our defender. That guy is just a beast in all sense of the word. Scored a goal from a free kick, give an assist from a corner kick. Also had a usual monster performance. Let me see his stats on the day: 3 shots, a couple of clearances, defenses, tackles, blocks. Just the typical Gabriel style of play. I'm also happy to see him get the goal as well. His partner in crime is Saliba, our Rolls Royce defender. Just did his team encouragement is lovely passing, working alongside Gabriel. And even when Mosquera came, it was a simple thing for Saliba. He continued to work with him. In midfield, Zubimendi, another combative performance, beautiful. That ball that he gave to Gyokeres, I wish he really scored from it. It just showed how amazing he is in terms of his technique. But he also got a yellow card, and unfortunately, he'll be suspended for our game against Slavia Prague. Well, at least he'll get some rest. The Slavia Prague game, when is it even coming up? I think the Slavia Prague game comes up in between Burnley and Sunderland. Yeah. So after we play Brighton in the EFL Cup, Arsenal will visit Toughmore to play Burnley. Then we travel to Prague to play Slavia Prague in the Fortuna Arena in Prague. And of course, we now play Sunderland afterwards. So once we finish the game against Burnley, Burnley will have a full week's rest before we take on Sunderland. Oh, that would be nice to see Granit Xhaka again. Well, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. Declan Rice, what can I say about Rice? His distribution is downright amazing. His corner kicks, his dead balls are superb. The first goal was a cross from Declan Rice. The fourth goal as well was a cross from Declan Rice that was noted by Gabriel to Gyokeres. So despite the amazing distribution, Rice obviously put in a combative performance, dominating play, covering every blade of grass, as you'd expect from him. Bukayo Saka, I won't say he had a quiet game, but maybe I feel that after he clashed knees with Oblak, that must have taken some toll on him. And I'm really, really hoping that he's okay, because our captain clashed knees with Christian Somerville, and we all know what happened. He has been out for almost 6 to 8 weeks. So Saka did okay, had a couple of shots, that one-on-one chance with Oblak. Then of course he'd have had an assist, because there was a time when he dribbled his marker and played the ball to the far post for Martinelli to convert. Martinelli did not time his run well, so this was an offside. Iberiche, another brilliant performance from him. He almost scored early in the first half, had a couple of neat passes, created his own lovely chance he created for Saka where Oblak saved. So I'm so happy to have him in our squad. He's our number 10 and he'll continue to cook. Martinelli, he just goes to show what competition can do to a player. He has scored 4 goals for Arsenal this season and is no longer a regular, fighting alongside Leandro Trossard for minutes. And of course, our man of the match, Viktor Gyökeres, who scored 2 amazing goals on the night. I'm so happy that his drought is over, and we can just look forward, for more great performances from him. So what does this mean? Arsenal is currently third in the standings behind PSG and Inter, who have a very good record as well in the Champions League. What is key to note here is that we need to utilize these games and get as much wins as possible, because the rule book says that the top 4 will have their second leg in their home ground. So right now, only Arsenal, PSG, and Inter Milan have a 100% record in the competition. And obviously, if Arsenal continues this record, they are odds on to finish in the top 4. We still have some very hard games right now in the Champions League. We're going to play Slavia Prague. That's a game I believe we can win. Then our hardest test will come on the 20th, 26th of November when we play Bayern Munich. But thank God the game is at home. And of course, we're going to travel to Club Brugge, travel to Milan to play Inter. Then we're going to host Kairat Almaty in our final Champions League game, if I'm correct. Yeah. So far so good. Arsenal doing well in the Champions League, as we expect. We're semi-finalists last season. Yeah, hi Sule, thanks for being in the chat. Nice one to you too, bro. We're semi-finalists last season, and we'll continue to strive to go one higher, which probably to win the big year trophy for the first time in our career. So what happens next? We're going to play Crystal Palace next. That game is going to happen on Sunday, because Crystal Palace are involved. Is there any game like the hardest test? I would say the hardest test we'll potentially have in the Champions League when we host Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich is a very strong side. But obviously, 2 seasons ago, they knocked us out of the Champions League in the quarterfinal stage, So it will be some measure of revenge we want to have against them. So for our next opponent is going to be Crystal Palace at the Emirates. It's going to be on Sunday, because on Thursday they're going to play AEK Lamaka in the Conference League. And typically teams that play on Thursdays always have Sunday fixtures. So Arsenal has extra rest from the Tuesday game we've played. And looking forward to hosting them. But obviously, prior to that, there'll be a match preview. There'll be some additional content in the channel. I think I'm going to publish an article about Trossard tomorrow. And I have another one that I really like, where I'm talking about why we are title contenders this season. It's very lovely for you guys to have a look at it. On Friday, obviously, we have our Fan Fridays. Okay, so that's pretty much for me today. It's 11 o'clock right now. Need to get some shut eye. Really, really glad to see everyone that has been on the chat with me today on this match reaction stream. As always, it was good to see us smash 4 goals past Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone is an amazing coach. He has been with them for 14 years, which is quite shocking to know. But as it stands, Arsenal has done more than enough to gain confidence going into our next game. Obviously, we have to take it one game at a time, and till then, we're going to see ourselves again. There'll be more content in the channel. Like I said earlier, tomorrow I'm going to publish a video about Trossard. I think he has been a very, very amazing player for us, and he's on the rise. So I'm going to touch on that. On Thursday, I'm going to publish another video on why Arsenal are genuine title contenders. There are a couple of myths that we'll need to debunk. So stay tuned for that. On Friday, obviously, we're going to have our usual Fan Friday stream where we'll talk about burning questions regarding the team. And I'm sure we'll have a couple of panelists that will be here to instruct their stuff. On Saturday, I will have the match preview for the Crystal Palace game. On Sunday, potentially a watch along, but we certainly have a match reaction. The content never stops, and it's all about Arsenal. So thanks for everyone that's been on the channel with me tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm just grateful to see how we've grown so far. Right now, we're closing in on 2,000 subscribers. I'm so grateful to everyone that been part of this journey with me. And let's just continue to keep pushing at this. Till then, come on, you guys.